Okay. So, well, you know, when Dan asked me if I wanted to give a keynote, yeah, we have like a slogan in the company. It says, "Why not?" Yeah. So why not? And what I'll be talking about today is, like they say in one comedy, the same as previous speakers, but different. And why different? Because when I start thinking about it, it brought a lot of memories of the things that I did in the last 20 years, being around automotive, and triggered some questions. This is why I have put the question mark here. And well, basically, what I'll be talking about, not in specific order and not very structured, you will see, because I see it all interdependent, will be the same topics, but again, different. Yeah. So, I will first start with some history that I was involved in. So, back in early 90s, yeah, the main thing was connectivity. And everything was new. Wireless communication only started then. And we started with telematics applications. And should I say that communication means were primitive compared to today? Yeah, like you had eventually something. Does anybody remember DataTech network? Yeah, like 9.6 kilobit. Yeah, almost. Given that there was a signal around, right? So, which means that, yeah, through all this time, the thing evolved to what it is today, and, well, basically also the vehicle itself grew, yeah, from a device that you could eventually track and send some tasks to the drivers and do some planning to, I would say, equal rights computing node in a big network. And this is the situation that we are facing today, is that the car has got connected. Yeah. So when they started mentioning connected cars back then, it was again so some kind of wireless and GPS and yeah, fleet management, some security, and what we did back then was also really experimental, like off-board navigation. Yeah, imagine, yeah, compressing the maneuvers and sending them over SMS, for example, and stuff like that. So it's really, yeah. It was fun because most of the effort that we brought was actually circumventing the problems of network availability or throughput bandwidth, yeah? So we spent a lot of time doing that, sometimes even more than providing the basic functionality of the thing. And today, yeah, where we are is, so the car is getting, so the vehicle, sorry, is getting smarter, but not only the vehicle, yeah, everything else is getting smart. Yeah, today we talk about smart infrastructure, smart this, smart that. So, and what I want to say is we are entering a new world, basically, that opens up today. And therefore, you will see, the title was about Linux. It is about Linux, but deliberately I'm mentioning very little Linux here. Why? Because we've got Linux everywhere. talk about world domination. Yeah, everywhere you look at, there is some Linux machine running something all around. So, and I think what I want to touch here and raise a lot of questions is basically, related to Linux very tightly. Yeah, and so Magnus already said before, erasing the boundaries. We didn't coordinate on that. Yeah. So, but what I feel is that the vehicle has outgrown its physical boundaries into something else. Yeah. Now you have like software updates, cloud connectivity, everything already running outside of the car, getting into the car, or running from the car, getting outside. And what we are seeing right now is also that the sensors themselves are outgrowing the car. Yeah? Like, for example, you have in-vehicle sensors that enable some systems to predict or do some, in our case, maybe ADAS functionality. Yeah, but what is coming up is it has to interact with the world in a broader sense. Yeah, like maybe in a bigger geofenced area. Yeah, to be able to see virtually everything that is happening around it, to be able even to act in a predictive way. Yeah. So in that sense, first we are getting the information from the outside, but also, the vehicle is giving information to the outside. Like if you have the external sensory network monitoring the traffic, it will already know if there is a pending traffic jam or slowing down, for example. So there is a bigger grade of interaction with the environment. And when we go into vehicle-to-vehicle communication, then I see that at least vehicles will be able to even influence each other. Yeah? And on the right side, you see something that came to me as a parallel. Basically, there is a concept in Mahayana Buddhist literature called Indra's net, where you have a net with infinite number of jewels that actually reflect each other. And I see the technology developing in that way. So the boundaries will be erased completely, and we'll have a huge, I call it network of things, here. Whatever, which means that we will have a potential infinite number of computing nodes running and talking to each other. And probably things will go developing in the ways that we today cannot even think of. So, and this is a rant about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So what is coming up is that artificial intelligence is coming into all aspects of computing. Started from deeply embedded, like now you have TensorFlow libraries for small deeply embedded microcontrollers, to hardware accelerators, and then it goes all the way through into the cloud, and we see it, we use it every day. nowadays, yeah? And, well, basically, in automotive, so far it has been ADAS AD, at least what I know. And here, the biggest problem that I see is that you need to handle somehow many different situations and train your model. And there is a certain muscle memory in those models, which means that your model is as good as you have trained it, and you cannot really train it for everything, for all the situations. Like we had the discussion yesterday, I remembered one situation when the pedestrian was running across the street, gone to the left lane and changed the person's mind and went back, right in front of my car. So, as long as there are humans interacting in traffic, you can count on anything being unpredictable. And regardless of the simulation that you can do, yeah, it will also be as good as the situations that you had in mind. So the thing is that maybe there is a solution to that. And that would be the participants in this big network could eventually, be used to produce a set of situations that can contribute to better machine learning. About the software-defined vehicle, yeah, so the first question is, as Mizuyama-san said, yeah, so software and decoupling from hardware. My question here is what I started thinking about is, first of all, what can we actually define in the car? So, can vehicle hardware grow itself? No, we are still not in Skynet/Terminator era, yeah? So, but what I've seen already is that some people are experimenting. Funny, it's running Linux, are experimenting with dynamically reconfiguring microcode on the FPGAs. And this brings me to thinking that, yeah, it is not only that you, so even when you look at randomized microcode that is used in security, yeah, we are already on the way to make hardware somewhat reconfigurable or changeable. And this means also that at some point, this might even solve the problem of, I don't know, so through the life cycle of a vehicle, like, I don't know, 15 years or whatever, at some point, the hardware that you are running your software on will be obsolete. Yeah? Maybe in this way, things can be, who knows where these developments will lead us, basically. Yeah? So, I see that actually what we'll have to do is maybe pay a lot more attention to configuration management, to know what is running in each and every car out there, and how the things are actually configured together. Which brought me to another topic, and this is about safety. Yeah? How can today's formal methods actually ensure that something that you are running as a service in the car that you have downloaded is actually safe? And I think that at some point in time there will be a necessary paradigm shift, yeah, to change the mindset and adapt to the new world that is coming. So yeah, this is something that I hope will start also talking through the organizations like AGL. So now, all this put together, where is it going? Today, I've gone to the extreme here. I said, yeah, well, everything will be a service. But then, if you include everything, there will be stuff like vehicle as a service. And there are already analyses that say that people will prefer actually to have a subscription model of using a car. So basically, you pay for what you use. Yeah? But I think it has a certain number of implications that are not purely technological. And this is, yeah, one extreme example. An OEM has patented, is about to, or filed for a patent on technology that could enable turning off some functionality inside a vehicle based on certain conditions like late payment or whatever. And yeah, so, but, okay, they say they don't want to use it, but only the fact that somebody thought about it is, well, as an old engineer, I'm well acquainted with Murphy's Law. Yeah, so, yeah, this means that, if somebody came up with the idea, surely somebody will use it in one form or another. Yeah, and it won't be anymore like, cutting out the iron to get access to the CAN bus to steal the car. Yeah? But instead, it will be done through software. Or who knows, maybe at some point somebody will be able to reconfigure your processor. And yeah, so this brings me to the topic actually. This is the last slide here, to the topic of what we as community could do and maybe should start talking about. Yeah, so like the measures that we have right now inside the open source. So normal practices, yeah, like licenses and having many eyes looking at the code, doing frequent updates, and most important, education about the open source methods. My question here is that enough? Yeah, given what I talked about before, I don't believe that that's enough. And not only that, but okay, we are here to discuss about technology, about code, but it doesn't end here, There will be some implications beyond technology that maybe in situations like this, when we have different OEMs and tier ones talking to each other, we could kick off useful discussion about it. So I think I'm done. It was like 15 minutes, and thank you.